Futures and options on futures trading involve substantial risk and is not a suitable investment for all types of investors. Past results are not necessarily indicative of future results. When I use the word I in this video, it refers to what I teach in my charting course or what I author in my twice daily oral and written updates. Prices shown on charts and quote boards are in real time and take into account all known activity up to this point in time. And if you'd like to read more of this disclaimer, simply hit the pause key on your video player. Good day. Ira Epstein of Linn & Associates with your weekend financial update for this Friday, the 21st of July, 2017. And we're at the point right now in the 320 time frame, 325, where the markets will, in the S&P and the other indices, have stalled out trading. They'll start at 330 again, but these will be the settlement prices. That's how that's done. So a down day across the board, nothing really serious. We saw good rallies hitting again in the bonds and the notes. The grain markets are all selling off as weather is getting a bit more favorable, at least it is this Friday afternoon for the next few days. Cattle on feed report came out today at 2 o'clock. It looked a bit bearish. We have an OPEC meeting taking place starting this weekend, and you can see the energy's getting hit, and that cooler weather that's impacting the grains, that took down the nat gas today as well. We have a brand new, if you will, communications director out of the White House. Sean Spicer is now been retired. I think that's the right way to say it. Anthony Scaramucci coming on with Ms. Huckabee, as I like to call her, going to be your day-to-day person, and she's a tiger. There's no question about it. Another move by Mr. Trump, or President Trump, you might say, to get more control of the media as best as he can. Dollar hit hard. That all happened as the ECB this week, as we know, at first tried to put their good foot forward with, hey, we're not doing anything. In fact, we'll add more money if necessary. But as soon as it was said, come the autumn, they will be discussing the rolling back of some of this bond buying and tapering. Market understood it. 117 hit in the euro today. So that gives you an idea what's going on there. And all the metals up in part off of that. So what we've got on the monthly chart, and let's first start on the monthly chart for the Dow, is a new all-time high in the market. When we come to the weekly area chart of closes, well, for the week, the market was down, not up, down 77 at this point in time. And as you can see, it's an inside week. It's a pause. Don't know if the market's going to break out to the upside or downside from that. But generally, in the way it's going, it's just a pause at that point. The trend of the market, you still have the pattern of higher lows, higher highs. That's all bullish in the market unless 21,226 was taken out. So from where you're at right now, that's about 290 points. You'd have to drop through that next week, and then you'd have taken out the low of an outside week up. That would be a bearish signal. What about if the market did do that? Where could the prices go? Well, certainly you'd be arguing, or I would make the argument, 21,000 level would be in play. What if that doesn't occur and the market decides instead to continue on the trek to the upside? The next stopping resistance point I have is the upper Bollinger Band at 21,735. So in summary, the monthly chart's still bullish. There's some what-ifs to stop the ascent here that we've got. I don't see them big time in play, and the market's still looking good. On the June Dow Jones Industrial Weekly, the slow stochastic, you can see the trend is up. What about the NASDAQ on this? Powerful, still to the upside. You have a market that came down, hit the 18-week, came back up, and the market's still looking pretty strong. What about in looking at the E-mini S&P 500 index for the week? Right up to the upper Bollinger Band. What's the common theme on the weekly charts? You got embedded reading. Not one in the NASDAQ. It's brand new to the upside, but you got one in the Dow. So when I'm looking at all these charts, I'm still seeing bullishness in them every which way that I'm looking. What about the VIX? Do you know that this is a new low close? I can't find a close lower than it on the daily chart. So this is your new low close. You have what we call that locked-in embedded reading, momentum locked into the downside. Is it possible we get to the 888 level? It could. One of the things you have to be careful of, we had embedded readings back here. We didn't drop all that much. We had them, and I can show you way back there. We had them here, and it was the same thing. So this punch down is good, But I don't think I'd get married that it's just going to fall apart in the market. It's very hard once you're down to 9 to get to 8. And that's because of how it all works. You don't get those moves. When you're at 20 and 30 in the VIX, it's one level, 15's another, but now you're half of that at new lows. When we come to the weekly charts of the 10-year notes, well, the one evident thing I see is you got up to the upper Bollinger Band a month ago, fell back, the market came down because the Fed raising interest rates, hearing Ms. Yellen talk, but now the market's starting to look at this economic data as it's rolling in, and it's not all that friendly. We're hearing other central bankers as well saying that they're not getting the inflation they want. In fact, Bank of Japan this week said they don't expect to hit their 2% goal to 2019. That's a real problem for everybody. The dollar index on the weekly chart just churning to the downside, momentum locked in bearish. This was President Trump's goal, to get the dollar value down, to improve American trade. He gets absolutely no credit in any manner for it, of course, but it is happening under his administration. And in fact, it peaked out, if you take a look, when he got into office here, January, and it has gone down ever since. No press about that at all. They'll say, well, it's down because world economy is bad. That's not the truth. The truth is our policies are in part what's driving it down. The euro currency, the market is, if you take a look, running up against the dollar. So from January, when the euro was at the 105 level, and we heard the president say, and he had met with Ms. Merkel and everyone, remember those meetings, that he thinks the euro was artificially low. Again, it's back up to 117. You might say it's world pressures, and I agree with you. You know, I do a certain amount of economic outlook myself, but he's getting one of the things that he wanted there. This is a currency that I don't know what to do with. And the hard part is, how do you figure out Brexit? Now, the reality of the situation is it's locked into bullish trend and momentum. You've got the higher lows, higher highs. You don't argue with the chart. I'm guessing you have to close under 128.20, the 18-week moving average of closes, to start saying, okay, the market's rolling over. Maybe that's not what it does. I don't know. It's a hard one to figure out. Here's an easy one to figure out. This market's just bullish. Now, how many weeks do we have over the upper Bollinger Band gets to be the interesting part. You close today at 79.83, and you can see that it's well over the Bollinger Band. This week over it. This week, in fact, you've got week after week over it. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can go to 5. Doesn't get your correction in it. So it's getting a bit long in the tooth is my point. But when you get sideways action in a market, and this is always great to learn from, this is a long period, almost a year of sideways action. And now the market resolves to the upside. To resolve to the upside, you got to push the upper band out. And that often happens. You can go as much as 5. I've seen 7 times out of it, but it's not that many, okay? We're longer away, begging for a correction than anything else. Japanese yen, this is going to be a chart that ultimately comes out looking like the Canadian in terms of when it breaks out, but it's not there. It's just sideways action, and that's part of the goal, I think, of the Japanese right now. They're not going to let their yen appreciate. They don't want it to. That helps them for trade, but they're doing nothing, if you think about it, to make it go up. Crude oil market, sort of stuck in limbo right here. Now, we have a meeting this weekend that begins when the discussions of Ecuador, who's dropping out of the OPEC agreement to curtail production. We've got Libya and we've got Nigeria being discussed. You know, a lot of people are going to look because I believe the UAE and Saudi Arabia had higher production last month. So what's going on there? So we're getting production numbers that, in all fairness, you know, they got to take care of their own needs. The question is the export business. And one of the things that you're seeing right now also in fundamentals is that the Saudis are not shipping as much oil to the U.S. And while the U.S. wants to punish Venezuela, we're still a major buyer of Venezuelan oil. It gets tricky, especially if the Saudis say, no, we're going to cut out your production to the U.S. That helps them balance price and stockpiles. They're not going to give up on that easily. This is a real poker game going on in crude. But what's the chart action? Well, the swing lines got higher lows and higher highs. The resistance, 47.83. Momentum is flat in the water right here. Nat Gas. Nat Gas got as high as 311.40 on the weekly chart, did not take out a previous high. It has not come out of its downtrend. You still got lower highs, lower lows. Admit it, the momentum is going sideways and it's in the oversold area. Difficult market, but it hasn't been able to launch anything. Let's talk about a minute from my research. You know, how I like to start off my mornings is a cup of coffee, and you can see it in the background here. And what do I do with that? Well, I sit down at my computer, and I just bought a brand new microphone today. We bought, and we'll see if it works or not, we bought studio quality, not a headset, real studio quality. I want background noise, a little of it, but I think you're going to see a huge voice improvement over it. And I review 40 charts with you. I throw out my ideas on what the bulls are doing, bears, what the pros are doing, and I give you my experience of 45 years as to why. I talk a bit about stops, profit objectives, where the market might head, and why. So you get a lot of trade ideas before the day gets too far along. I back it up with writing at 11:30 in the morning, and again about 8 o'clock at night, and I put out special updates as well. So you get a lot of research, things you won't see anywhere else, and it's where I'm able to really say what I want because I'm not constricted like you're seeing in me in these videos. The government says what I can do. In other words, I can't come out in my YouTube video and say, buy here, sell there. I can in my other videos, and believe me, I stick my neck out. So I'd like you to take a look. If you haven't seen it yet, sign up for the free offering. I give 22 business days of it free. If you've tried it already, subscribe to it. One last thing I'm going to ask of everybody. Tell your friends to watch these videos. That's what helps me do them. I don't need to do them for me. I'm doing them for you. I think you understand that. So how do you get all this? Call us at 866-973-2077. Leave your name, your number, we'll get to you. You can go to our website, www.iraepstein.com. You'll see a carousel of free offers. Click on any of them, the forms will show. You'll be able to go from there. Click right up here. If you're watching me on YouTube, there's an icon. Click on it, the forms will appear. And on websites that pick up these videos, underneath them, they typically say, click here for Ira's free offers. Do that and you'll get them. So I'm Ira Epstein. You have a great weekend. I'll see you all on Monday. Good luck. Good trading to you. Take care.